What's going on, guys? Peter J. Cruz here. I wanted to take a minute or two to wrap up the year and wish you guys a Happy New Year. So this is really the time of year where everyone starts doing, 2019 review videos and, 2020 upcoming videos, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You've seen the memes, I'm sure, the winter is coming or, 2020 is coming or whatever. So anyway, I'll spare you the boredom with that. And I don't know if you've noticed, but every single one of those videos, they're always sitting down. So here's my look back at 2019. So 2019 started out, I was doing about 2 videos a week. It was working really well. I was learning a lot with video production, got some camera equipment, so forth. Right, fast forward to May, and school year comes to an end, or just about to an end, which gets really hectic, with the kids and everything. And I decided I need to take some time off from the video stuff so I could focus on end of the year activities with the kids. Planning a vacation with my daughter. We went to Universal Studios this year, so I probably should put some pictures up here, but I might not get to because we'll see what happens. So, but then after we got back from vacation, she was with me a lot more, and schedule kind of changed a little bit. It was a bit more difficult to try to do a lot of production and so forth. And I decided to take that time to kind of work on myself, work on my health, my fitness, working on learning a lot more about video production and audio production, that sort of thing. So I did a lot of self-development and so forth. And since then, I just haven't gotten back into the routine of starting up the videos again. However, I have been working on stuff behind the scenes, so to speak, and in the process decided to try to redo my studio. As you can see, I had started, and then it decided to change its mind and started reverting back to the naked state, so to speak. So one of the projects I'd worked on over the summer was I built a Hackintosh. So as you can see, I got my screen back here. I've been on Windows forever. And finally I decided had enough, with Sonar gone and out of the picture and everything, I decided to, I finally found the perfect recipe to build me a Hackintosh, and went ahead and did it, and here it is. And it's been solid. It's running Mojave right now. It's on the screensaver, of course, and I haven't upgraded to Catalina only because Universal Audio, Slate Audio, and a few other programs haven't signed off completely on compatibility with Catalina, and rather than have tempt fate and try to screw something up, I've held off on upgrading to Catalina. So I'm still running Mojave. Been rock solid, no issues at all. And if learning a little bit about building the Hackintosh intrigues you, leave me a comment down below. I also, in the last couple of months, began working on a EP, which I haven't announced yet. So there'll be details forthcoming, probably early 2020. I've got 3 of the songs written for the EP, so I'm roughly halfway there. And I got some big plans for this EP. So stay tuned for that. Let's just say it'll be instrumental, and it'll be exciting. And if everything goes according to plan, it's going to be pretty epic. So stay tuned. Early 2020, I'll probably be making announcements when I have a bit more. Once I have all the material finally written and I've begun doing some preliminary tracking on it and so forth. So definitely stay tuned for that. So one of the other things here towards the end of 2019 that I undertook was kind of a studio remodel. And been here about a year or so. And I think when I originally moved into the studio, things the way I'd set up things were not ideal, at least not the way I picture them now. So I decided to move some stuff around. So I remounted the monitors to the wall here instead of the other wall that they were here, and then decided to put some acoustic treatments. And they're not really the fancy stuff or whatever. They're just foam, whatever. But as you can see, I pretty much covered from ceiling all the way basically to the level of the desk, and just to minimize reflections and a lot of echo, because I actually had echo in this room, believe it or not, and it really would make listening to music a disaster, and recording audio, video audio would be the audio from video would be pretty much a nightmare. So I decided to just cover the walls with acoustic, and I didn't want to make anything like permanent, so I wasn't going to adhere it strictly, you know, to the walls with a spray adhesive that you could get for it, which I have. But I decided that was really going to be make a mess when I go to remove it, because I've seen Fluff's video, and those walls did not look pretty when he finished, when he moved to his new place. So I'm like, okay, that's not going to work. So I decided to found some videos where the guy was using some of the 3M command strips, and I said, seems legit. So I went ahead and tried it, and it's been great. And the command strips have been fine, but the Velcro pieces that you use to hold it all together, they're not sticking to the foam. At least they stick for like a week, and then they all start falling. And as you can see here, that's what all the little black things are. That's the pieces of Velcro attached to the command strip, which the white section's still on the wall. And I mean, I've got a mountain of foam here that I'm gonna have to show you, like right here. That's just a disaster. So I decided I'm gonna redo this all. So I'm actually gonna do a complete DIY acoustic panel type deal or whatever, and I'm gonna be putting them all over the room, ceiling, whatever, and I'm gonna do it right. So it's a work in progress. That's probably one of the next things I've got going on right now. I'm in the process of finding the mineral wool and everything else I'm going to put into the actual boxes that I'm going to put up on the wall. So possibly going to be doing a video. So if you're interested in watching, you know, some of that process, go ahead and comment on down below. So I also picked up some new gear this year, and while you've seen unboxings for like the Head Rush and the Paul Reed Smith MT-15 head, there was one piece of gear that I haven't done any unboxings for or any reviews or anything like that. So you can expect to see some of that here in 2020, but let's just say Mesa has something to do with it. And we're just going to leave it at that. Keep it under wraps for now. So of course, as we go into 2020, I'm planning a lot of videos. I've got a whole notebook full of ideas and plans for videos and stuff like that. So if you have any desires or any requests specifically for videos to watch, give me a comment down below. Let me know what you're interested in seeing videos on, tutorials or whatever. I'm probably going to do some videos on some plugins, like the guitar plugins, like, you know, like Overloud's THU, excuse me. I'm stuck back in like 2018 or something, you know. And gosh, what else? STL Tones has got a great Andy James plugin. STL Tones also has another plugin coming out probably in a couple of months that I've got privy to some information on, and I'm not going to get into details now. Let's just say I'm going to try to see if I can get me a hold of a beta copy, possibly. But you know, I'm not going to give any details because I'm not supposed to know anything. So the EP that I'm planning to do here in 2020 is, I think I got like planned for like 5 or 6 songs. I think I've got 3 of them, or 3 songs written already. And the really exciting part about it is I'm planning to have some guest musicians on this EP. Really haven't gotten to where, you know, we've reached out and got stuff going yet, but that's the initial plan, and it's got me really geeked out to, you know, move forward with it. So stay tuned for that, and more news as it becomes available. And when I have the right guest, my number one guest, so to speak, when I have my number one guest confirmed, then I will also release the name of the album, as you know, the EP as well, which I guess ties in with the guest artist in a way. I mean, it's kind of anyway, you'll find out. You know, 2020, you'll find out. Yeah. Another thing I've got coming up for 2020 is some covers and playthroughs. So I haven't decided on all the stuff I'm planning to do, and it's probably not going to be a whole lot, only because I don't want to get into that whole copyright BS stuff with YouTube and everything else. But if I can do it legit, then I'm going to do it legit, and I want to do it right, and I want the stuff to be totally rocking. So you can definitely count on a playthrough of Anger of the Gods, my own song. I don't know how that's going to work out because CD Baby's got the licensing on it. I mean, it's my royalties, but I mean, they're technically the licensing partner or whatever, and I'm not sure how that plays out if I have to get permission from them to use my own song. So we'll figure that out. And I got some other ones in the works I'm thinking of doing, which I'm not going to get into until I've decided I'm going to actually do it and learn the songs properly and then do all the parts and everything else. So I at least plan to do a few, so stay tuned. And another thing I'm planning to do, and this is probably more maybe in the back burner, maybe even towards later in the year, a Patreon page. I already have one because I had already set one up, but I mean, it's just sitting there just like in chill mode. It's not doing anything. So later on, when the EP is out, studio renovation's been done, I could very well be having a Patreon page go live, and you'll be able to support me on there. And I've got some really interesting ideas to do it. So while I don't have like a large channel, I think it could be a very useful resource for people to participate in and create community and that sort of thing. But again, that's probably much later in the year, and more details to follow. But right now I've got other fish to fry, so to speak, so that's my priority currently. But I do have plans to try to do something with that Patreon page before the end of the year. And last, and certainly not least, the return of the ShredGeek show. Try to do the ShredGeek show again on a regular basis, maybe every other week, possibly even every week. I mean, we'll see what transpires. I'll have to. I want to like play around with the format some and redo, I guess, some of the assets, because in going from Windows to my Mac or Hackintosh, some of the assets I think got lost in the process. So I'll have to recreate a lot of the assets that I had used during the webcasts and so forth. And part of it too is I think I might end up creating it into a quote-unquote video podcast, and it'll then be available as a podcast like on iTunes and all the other on iTunes and other podcast hosting sites or whatever, and also on my YouTube channel. So stay tuned, but that's probably going to come sooner than later. As far as, as opposed to like the Patreon page, which probably won't be towards like late in the year or whatever. So ShredGeek should be making a return here soon, along with the studio renovation and the EP. Those are pretty much like, priorities number one or whatever. So stay tuned for that. And that is my wrap up of 2019 and what I have planned in store for 2020. So if there's anything that you'd like to see or any comments you have about this past year for my channel or for your own personal stuff or your own personal life or your own video channel or whichever, go ahead and comment down below. I'd love to read it, and we can build community from there. So once again, Happy New Year. Wish you guys all the best. All the wishes of prosperity, health, happiness, lots of money, all that good stuff. Because lots of money means lots of new gear, right? So anyway, so you have a great Happy New Year and a great 2020 ahead for you. And in the meanwhile, check out these videos here, and I will see you in the next video.